Participating. When a woman begins to ignore you, most men panic. They assume that something must be wrong with them. They start overthinking every detail, what they said, what they texted, what they didn't do. That panic leads to chasing, begging, and seeking reassurance. Participating, which only pushes her further away. But what separates a confident man from a needy one is the ability to recognize his own value. The first and most powerful lesson you can ever teach a woman about ignoring you is rooted in self-respect. Participating because a woman cannot respect a man who does not respect himself. You have to understand that attraction is tied to confidence, and confidence is tied to standards. When she ignores you, she is testing your standards. Will you tolerate being treated like an option? Participating, will you allow her to step backward while you keep stepping forward? Or will you stand firm in your sense of worth? The price of ignoring a man with self-respect is losing the privilege of his presence. And trust me, she feels that loss a lot sooner than you think. Participating, women admire men who walk away from anything that doesn't align with their dignity. When you stop trying to force her attention and instead redirect that energy into yourself, you flip the power dynamic instantly. Participating, you show her that your life doesn't stop just because she's withholding her time. You prove you're not dependent on her validation to feel good about who you are. And that's when curiosity begins to replace her silence. Participating, because the moment she realizes that ignoring you didn't manipulate you, but instead motivated you to elevate your life, she starts feeling the consequence of her behavior. Most guys think that teaching her a lesson means pushing back, arguing, participating, or trying to make her jealous. But real strength is silent. Self-respect doesn't scream, it speaks calmly through action. A king doesn't chase after someone leaving his kingdom. He simply continues building it. Participating, a woman who walks away will glance back when she realizes the castle continues to grow without her. When she sees you staying busy, focused, calm, and unbothered, she'll begin asking herself questions she didn't expect. Participating. Why didn't he fight for me? Why isn't he checking up on me? Did I not matter? Has someone else given him what I didn't? That's when the tables turn. Not because you tried to teach her a lesson, but because the lesson teaches itself. Participating. Understand this attention is a currency. You don't give it away for free. You invest it wisely. When she stops earning it, you stop spending. It's that simple. You don't have to slam the door. Participating, you just have to stop chasing someone who walked away from the doorway. And when she finds that your distance remains steady, that your focus stays on your growth, she will feel the discomfort of her own decision. It's participating. The world teaches women that men will always be available, always right there waiting. Be the exception. There is nothing more attractive than a man who isn't afraid to lose a woman. When she ignores you, let her go. Let the silence be your strength. Participating. Let your self-respect be the boundary that defines how others treat you. Because a woman who respects your time and energy will never go silent without communication. A woman who values you will make the effort. And if she doesn't, participating, then she's showing you exactly where she stands. Believe her, self-respect also means you don't get angry or emotional about her distance. That reaction shows insecurity. Instead, remain neutral. You're not punishing her, you're preserving yourself. Participating, you don't blame or guilt her. You simply demonstrate that your presence is earned, not given away blindly. When you become the type of man who refuses to settle for crumbs, you ultimately attract people who want to offer the full meal. Participating, and here's the twist, when you stop putting her on a pedestal, she starts looking up at you. When you stop waiting around for attention, she begins to wonder where your attention went. When you stop responding immediately, Parsons anticipating your response, your self-respect changes the dynamic because it shows her something rare, a man who doesn't need her, but chooses her, only if she chooses him too. Remember, participating, you are not in the business of convincing someone to see your worth. You are in the business of showing up for yourself so strongly that they regret overlooking you. Participating. The price she pays for ignoring you is the realization that you were a man of value all along, and she didn't recognize it until it was too late. She thought you'd wait. She assumed you'd always be there. But you moved forward. You kept growing. Participating, you kept winning. And nothing hurts a woman more than watching the access she once had become unavailable. If she decides to return, it won't be because you begged or chased. It will be because you elevated. Participating, it will be because your self-respect made her question her choices. It will be because you silently reminded her that men like you aren't easy to replace. And if she doesn't return, then you still win. Participating because the kind of woman who ignores a good man is not the kind of woman you build a future with. Silence is one of the most misunderstood forms of communication in relationships. Most men believe that if they stay quiet or stop reaching out, participating, they're doing something wrong. They fear the space. They fear the uncertainty. They fear losing her permanently. Participating, but what they don't realize is that silence is actually one of the strongest and as most masculine responses you can give when a woman ignores you. Silence is not revenge. Silence is not manipulation. Participating silence is his power, the kind of power that speaks without raising its voice, without sending a single text, and without forcing anything. When she ignores you, she expects a reaction. She expects you to double text. She expects you to ask. Participating, is everything okay? She expects you to chase and beg for her attention because that's what insecure men do. She wants to see if you will crumble under distance. She wants to see if your feelings override your self-respect. Participating, but when she gets silence instead of pursuit, that changes everything. Suddenly the narrative shifts. Suddenly she realizes that ignoring you didn't give her control. It took it away. Silence is a mirror. Participating, it forces her to sit with herself and reflect on her actions. It makes her confront a question that terrifies the ego. What if he's fine without me? A woman only feels powerful ignoring a man who still chases. Participating, but the moment your silence shows that her absence doesn't shake your world, the power she thought she had dissolves. She begins analyzing every moment, every message, every interaction, trying to figure out why you didn't react the way she predicted. Participating, that uncertainty creates pressure, and pressure reveals truth. When you remain silent, she starts imagining scenarios in her mind. She begins to doubt herself. She wonders whether you have options. Participating, she wonders whether your life is too full and exciting to be bothered by her games. The silence becomes louder than any speech. The quiet becomes a lesson that she has to teach herself. And that's the beauty of it. You didn't lecture, complain, or criticize. Participating, you simply did nothing. And yet that nothing did everything. But silence only works when you truly mean it, not as a tactic to manipulate her into caring, but as a genuine act of self-value. You aren't going silent to punish her. Participating, you are going silent to protect your peace. Your time, your energy, your attention, they are privileges. If she chooses to withdraw hers, then you choose to match that energy with confidence. Participating, you are not closing the door, you're simply not chasing someone who walked away from it. Silence also gives you clarity. It resets your mindset. You step away from the emotional chaos and see the truth. If she wanted to talk to you, she would. Participating. If she wanted you in her life, she would show it. If she cared, she wouldn't ignore you. Silence helps you detach from illusions and accept reality without sugarcoating it. And once you accept the truth, you stop wasting energy on people who don't value yours. Participating, women are emotional creatures. When they feel uncertain, they act. When they feel ignored, they react. And when they feel like they are losing access to a man who once valued them, they chase. Silence activates a woman's fear of loss more than words ever could. Participating, because silence shows indifference. And indifference shows power. She might test you. She might wait longer. She might pretend she doesn't care. She might post photos to seem busy or happy. But deep down, silence creeps in her mind like a slow drip of curiosity. Participating, why isn't he reaching out? Does he not like me anymore? As someone else getting the attention I ignored, a woman's imagination can be your greatest ally if you know how to let silence do the work. Participating, this doesn't mean you ignore her when she shows real effort. Silence is a response to disrespect, not to genuine interest. The balance of power becomes unfair when one person is investing and the other is withdrawing. So your silence restores that balance. Participate, you are not punishing her, you are simply matching her effort. That's maturity, that's emotional strength. A man who responds with silence is a man who trusts himself. He doesn't need reassurance or external validation. His value isn't measured by whether someone texts him back. He knows that chasing is the fastest way to destroy attraction. He knows that attention given to someone who isn't reciprocating is attention wasted. Participating, he knows that a woman should feel lucky to be chosen, not entitled to be pursued. And let's be clear, it takes real discipline to stay silent. It's not easy to resist the urge to explain yourself or seek closure. Participating, it's not easy to fight the instinct to prove your worth. But that's exactly why silence is powerful. Only strong men can stay quiet in moments where weak men panic. The moment you realize you haven't begged, haven't cracked, participating, haven't tried to win her back, that's when the price of her silence begins to cost her. That's when the regret starts tapping on her shoulder. That's when she remembers the quality of the man she chose to ignore. Maybe she comes back. Maybe she doesn't. Participating, but the result doesn't matter because silence always reveals the truth. If she comes back with effort and respect, you now have the upper hand and a clear understanding of your worth. If she doesn't participate, she just confirmed that she never deserved your attention in the first place. Either way, Ed, you win. Your silence is not emptiness. It's a message. It says, I am not here to convince you to see my value. Participate. I am here to give my energy to those who already do. When she begins to ignore you, the worst thing you can do is pause your life while waiting for her attention to return. Too many men sit on standby, hoping that one message, one call, participating, or one change in her mood will bring things back to how they were. But the truth is simple. The best response to being ignored is to build the life she thought you would always include her in. When she withdraws her energy, you invest yours into your own evolution. Participating, because nothing teaches a woman the value of man faster than watching him grow into everything she doubted he could become. Without her, this is where your focus must shift. You're no longer trying to understand her silence. You're using that silence as fuel. Participating, you don't waste time overanalyzing the why. You take that time and deliver it to the what's next. Your goals, your fitness, your wealth, your purpose. Because when you thrive in her absence, participating, you show her that she was never the source of your greatness you were. Many men make the mistake of revolving their world around one woman. They forget that a man becomes most attractive when his world is already moving, progressing, expanding, participating. A woman wants to join a man's journey, not become the journey. When she ignores you, life is testing you. Will you crumble because someone stopped giving you attention? Or will you use this rejection as motivation to rise? Participating, the way you respond determines what kind of man you are. Victims chase, warriors level up. If she doesn't appreciate your attention, redirect it. If she doesn't value your time, invest it into something that will pay you back 10 times over. Participating, when you shift your mindset from chasing approval to chasing excellence, you unlock a version of yourself that becomes unstoppable. Think about it. Imagine months from now, your physique sharper, your finances stronger, your confidence elevated. Participating, your lifestyle richer. The very woman who once ignored your messages suddenly scrolls through your photos noticing the glow up she never believed would happen. That's when she feels the real consequence. Participating, not because you punished her, but because you outgrew the version of you she thought would always wait for her. A woman cannot ignore a man who keeps improving. Eventually, she sees that ignoring you didn't lower your value, it increased it. Participating, understand this truth, progress is attractive, stagnation is not. When she pulled away, it created space. What you fill that space with determines everything. Fill it with sadness, complaint, and self-pity, and she'll never think twice about leaving. Participating, fill it with disciplined growth and momentum, and there will come a moment where she looks back and realizes you were the one who got away, not her. The life you are building becomes the price she pays for taking you for granted. Participating, you don't announce your progress. You display it through results. You don't talk about how well you're doing. You actually let success introduce you. Your transformation becomes a silent message while you were ignoring me. Participating, I was becoming the man every woman wants. Men who elevate are men who become unforgettable. Work on your confidence by working on your competence. Learn new skills. Expand your mind. Upgrade your lifestyle. Participating, surround yourself with better experiences and better people. Because when your presence becomes more powerful, your absence becomes unbearable. A woman who ignored you when she thought you were average will regret it when you become exceptional. Participating, and here's the beautiful twist, the higher you rise, the less you'll even care whether she returns or not. Because leveling up doesn't just change how others see you, it changes how others see you. Participating, you will look back and thank the moment she ignored you because it pushed you into your greatest transformation. Rejection redirects you towards self-mastery. Remember, she's not paying attention right now because she thinks you're not going anywhere. Participating, she believes she can come back whenever she chooses. She assumes you'll still be the same man in the same place waiting for her. Prove her wrong. Let your evolution show her the difference between a man who needs validation and a man who creates value. Participating. While she's entertaining meaningless distractions, you're building a legacy. While she's chasing short-term attention, you're chasing long-term success. While she's looking for someone exciting right now, participating, you're becoming the man who will still be exciting 10 years from now. That contrast will eventually hit her like reality does, hard and unforgiving. If she comes back, she will come back to a stronger, wiser, more valuable version of you. And at that point, participating, that's you, get to decide whether her presence still fits your life. That's true power, not needing someone but having the choice. And if she doesn't come back, good, because someone else will. Someone who recognizes your worth instantly. Participating, someone who sees what she was blind to. Someone who won't ignore a man who shines. Your mission is not to win her attention. Your mission is to become a man whose life is so fulfilling that losing her attention means nothing. The focus is growth. Participating, constant progress, relentless self-improvement. You are sculpting a life that will attract the right woman effortlessly, one who appreciates your ambition and matches your energy. So when she ignores you, don't try to prove your worth to her. Participating, prove it to yourself. Become the man she wished she had stayed loyal to. Become the reason she regrets choosing games over greatness. Become the example she uses to measure every other man and watch how they fall short. Participating, that is how you teach her the true price of ignoring you by building a life so abundant and successful that she can no longer afford a place in it. Your greatness is the punishment for her carelessness. Your glow up is the consequence of her absence. Participating, your success is the invoice she pays in regret. Keep building the life she thought you'd wait to share with her. Because nothing stings more than realizing the man she ignored became the man she can no longer reach. Participating. A woman will only miss what she can't easily access. That's the truth most men overlook. When a woman starts ignoring you, she thinks she has all the power. She believes you will keep showing up no matter how poorly she treats you. She assumes your love, participating, attention, and effort are guaranteed. But the moment you pull those things away, the moment you stop trying to prove your worth, that's when she starts to feel the absence. Participating, she begins to realize that attention from a man of value is not something she can take for granted. A woman does not miss the man who stays available despite being ignored. She misses the man who walks away when he recognizes he isn't being valued. Participating. When your presence was once consistent, your calls, your texts, your affection, and suddenly it disappears, she will feel the shift. And that shift is what wakes her up, because now she must face the uncomfortable truth that you are no longer trying to win her. Participating. She is no longer the center of your attention. She no longer has the influence she once enjoyed. You teach her the price of ignoring you by creating distance. You remove the comfort she once felt with your presence. Participating. Humans only notice the importance of something when it's gone or when they no longer feel entitled to it. Your absence becomes a teacher. Your silence becomes a reminder. Your detachment becomes the alarm. This is how attraction works. Participating. A woman desires mystery, challenge, and uncertainty. She needs to wonder if she can lose you. When she thinks she has you no matter what, she becomes careless. But when she senses she might lose you, she becomes alert. Her curiosity returns. Her emotions reawaken. Participating. She starts asking herself questions she never bothered to consider. Why isn't he texting me? Did he lose interest? Is another woman taking my place? Did I push him away? Those thoughts begin to consume her more than you ever could by chasing. Participating. The more she wonders, the more she feels. The more she feels, the more she wants answers. That desire for reassurance makes her return, not because you chased, but because she realized you're worth casing. A woman's regret forms in silence. Participating, she replays the moments where you cared, where you tried, where you showed up. And she starts to miss those moments, not because she suddenly changed, but because your absence forced her to see what she overlooked. Participating, there is nothing more attractive to a woman than a man who chooses himself. That type of man is rare. That type of man is confident. That type of man becomes unforgettable. By stepping back, participating, you show her that the relationship doesn't survive on just one person's effort. If she wants you in her life, she must participate. She must return communication, show interest, and invest emotionally. And if she doesn't, participating, then she never deserved you from the beginning. Men often fear that if they stop chasing, she'll leave forever. But here's the truth: a woman who cares will never leave because you stop chasing. She will only leave if she never valued you in the first place. Participating, walking away doesn't lose the right one. It only filters out the wrong one. Let her feel what it's like to not have you. Let her experience the silence. Let her wonder. Let her see the difference between a life with your energy and a life without it. Participating, when she comes back And she usually does. She will come back with a different attitude. She will be more respectful, more attentive, more aware of your worth. That is the price of ignoring a man who refuses to sacrifice his dignity. Participating, and here is the most powerful part: when she finally returns, you're no longer the same man she left. You don't go back to the old dynamic where she had control. You set new standards. You become more selective. Participating, you decide whether she earns a second chance, not her. Because the man she ignored is gone. The man in front of her now is wiser, stronger, and less tolerant of disrespect. If she truly regrets losing you, she will prove it. Participating, her actions will speak louder than any apology. She will invest effort, consistency, and vulnerability. But if she comes back and still plays games, still gives excuses, still shows inconsistency, you let her go for good. Participating, you respect yourself enough to move forward. Because now you know the truth. She was only meant to teach you a lesson, not to stay. The beautiful thing about this transformation is that by the time she wants you again, you might not want her anymore. Participating, and that is the ultimate victory. You didn't just make her miss you. You made yourself outgrow the need for her validation. The goal is not to make her chase or to punish her silence. Participating, the goal is to honor yourself so deeply that anyone who leaves must earn their way back if they ever get the chance, because you learn to be content on your own, because you built a life where love is welcomed, but not begged for. Participating, because you became a man who knows his worth. Teach her that ignoring you comes with a cost, and that cost is losing a man she won't easily replace. Women regret losing the men who have resi after heartbreak, the men who evolve instead of collapse. Participating, the men who become more confident, more attractive, more grounded without needing them. So turn your attention inward, become better, become stronger, become the man she looks at later and says, participating, I can't believe I pushed him away. That is when she learns the price, not when you chase, not when you explain, not when you beg, but when you walk away and never look back with desperation. Let her come searching for what she ignored. Participating, let her return to the door she once closed. And if she's lucky enough to find it open again, let her feel blessed, not entitled, to step through it.